There it is. High above the court in TD Garden, Mike Yankowski, and me from my house, Joe. We're back again to bring you another podcast on the NBA playoffs. Last night we saw the Celtics close it out,
Don't
and
let
we
us
saw
get
the
one.
Mavericks. Don't let us get one. That's right. We let them get one and see what happens. They didn't even threaten us. But Mavericks also um got ahead in that series. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Let's hear what you got to say, Mike, on the Celtics.
Oh, you want to start with Celtics? Okay,
Got it.
so there's one thing. What?
Is this the back? I'm gonna be doing this
Oh,
the whole time.
no, no, it's fine. I thought I said something I didn't know.
No, it's just fun.
I guess I want to start with a negative because, and this can be a positive as well. But I don't know. Maybe you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. This series, did somebody like did a certain player not really look the best to you?
Tatum.
Yeah.
I I don't think he necessarily looked bad,
No,
but
not at all.
I just don't think he felt the need to do anything because it was all taken care of,
Okay, and that's
like
and that's fine, right? Because I agree with that. However, I think next series he's gonna probably feel the same way.
mm,
So by the time you get to the Eastern Conference Finals now, it's like it's not that easy to just turn on the switch, I guess is kind of what I'm saying. So it's like I think he needs to start next series specifically, like really take I don't want to say taking it serious because he's obviously taking it serious, but he's taking a back seat to the guys, which I like. I do appreciate that. But he's gotta start showing himself in some of these games to me personally. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
I'm probably overreacting a little bit to it, and like that's fine. But I don't know. It just doesn't it just looks a little odd to me.
I,
That's really all negative I have to say about that. Um, Other than that, kind of what I thought was going to happen happened. I mean, like I said, I kept saying this on the podcast. I thought the Heat would get one. They got their one, and that was it. Porzingis was shown after the game not wearing a boot anymore. That's great news.
I didn't even know
Um,
he was in a boot. Okay.
yeah. So he's looking solid. Which obviously he probably won't play next series, which I still think is okay. But like I said, this was a really important game for us to win, and I had said I think on the last pod that I really thought they were going to come out fired up because they wanted to really kind of stick it to Miami, and I think they did just that. And now they set themselves up nicely. They got till Tuesday, I think, till the second round starts, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so they can get some rest in, just kind of regroup, go back to the drawing board, see what they did well, see what they could improve on. They're in a really good spot. They're doing everything that they should have done up to this point with this team. Like this
Yeah.
game, this series shouldn't have gone further than five, in my opinion. And they took care of business. So again, the Tatum's the only like minor tidbit part about it that I don't feel great about, but I think he'll be fine. But overall, I feel really good.
Yeah. I really don't have too much on the layout of the game just because after three quarters, it was pretty. I don't want to say unwatchable, but uneventful, just because we all kind of knew how it was going to go.
Yeah, did
So
you
we entered the game with
real quick? Has this series like so far, like as a Celtic fan compared to the last 2 years, hasn't it just felt really boring?
it's felt nice. It's like
Yeah,
not
no, that's
something where
true, but I don't know. I like a little bit of excitement personally, but I get what you're saying. I would have
mhm.
I do rather it this way, but yeah.
But yep, so no Porzingis this game and no Jacques Jr. on their end. The Celtics regular season stats are actually better without Porzingis, but we're overlooking that. That only means that we can play without him. Doesn't mean that we're better without. Derek White again, 15 points in the first. He just is feeling it, and I love it. Because the first couple of games in the series he really wasn't. 14-2 run in the second, 10-0 run in the third. Brown and White both got 25. And played less than 30 minutes as well. Tatum did get a double-double, 12 rebounds and 16 points. Hauser 13. I mean, sorry, 17 points, probably because you know, they didn't really they used he was their primary guy after everyone else got off the court in the fourth. I wish we let his name's Walsh, right? The my player guy. I wish we let
Yeah,
him play. I didn't see him out there. I think we need to see more from Tatum. Yep, hopefully it comes out when we would need him.
yeah.
I know you don't, but I personally feel bad for Bam. He came out swinging and then kind of died down when he realized he knew what was going to happen. I don't know how many he had in the first, but that was definitely his hottest quarter as well, just
Put him
perfectly
in a
balanced
half.
out by White. Um, I also just wrote not much to say. This is exactly how this should have happened. 54 from the fields to their 41. Heat 10-3. Celtic. What the hell is that even? Um, just the Celtics beat them everywhere on the court. I don't think there's too much to say on that. Um, what do we want to see from the oh yeah, I just wrote the stats were likely pretty skewed because a whole quarter of those stats was bench. So like, oh no, we miss a bunch from three. That could just be like, our bench guys we don't really care about. So what do we hope now to see from the Magic Cavaliers series? I will just start by simply saying it going to seven, just to, put a little more work on their legs, give them less time to rest. I think that's just all obvious stuff though. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say in terms of unbiased based on where we live at the current moment, who you think our best chances against, and what exactly you'd like to see from the winning team, if they come out of it.
Um, I agree with you that I would like to go to seven, even though I don't think it will have that much of a difference. I mean, hey, it can't hurt, right? I mean, so that's kind of the bottom line there. Um, as far as who I think, obviously, like in a regular season sense, we play better against the Cavs and the Magic, I'd say. And that's, by the way, with no facts or statistics. That I could be wrong, but I'm just going off of my gut as someone who watches every game. Um, I still think I'd rather play the Magic
Mm.
because they're just such a younger team and so much more inexperienced. Now the Cavs aren't much more experienced than them, if any. But you also have that factor of like the Cavaliers have a certified star on their team. And in the playoffs, if you have a certified star on your team, you're almost guaranteed to sneak a game or two. Just
Mm.
because like that guy can, once or twice light it up and have a 40-45 ball. You know what I mean? Now I
Kevin
don't
Durant.
I don't think that would happen, but there it leaves that possibility. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think just off of that alone, I'd rather play the Magic. But I think it's very similar that either way, I don't know. Like it's kind of hard for me to answer because I feel like it'd be pretty similar either way. I just think that, but now I'm thinking of it. Now, now I'm thinking of it from a standpoint.
Gentleman sweep. There's a reason for it. It's because we had a gentleman sweep.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about it in terms of travel. It's easier to travel to Cleveland than it is to travel to Orlando. I know I sound crazy, but at this stage of the season, for Porzingis, that's important. Um, so taking that into consideration, I don't know. Either team I feel good about for pros and cons either way. I don't know.
I get what you're saying about the travel, but does that also not mean that the less experienced playoff team has to travel that much? The Celtics, think about the Celtics. They had to travel to Golden State last year, and they even won one of their games out there. So yeah, the
Two,
travel is
two
a
years
negative.
ago, 2 years ago,
Yeah, yeah.
but no. That goes. I'm to be honest with you, Joe. I'm not even thinking of it from a standpoint of who's going to win this series. I'm thinking about it for later series.
Hmm.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because I'm thinking that we're not going to have an issue with beating either team. So I'm thinking about I'd rather make the travel a lot easier because yeah, we're gonna have to travel to a place on the West Coast. I'd rather have to save all that traveling for that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And also the Knicks are going to the Sixers right now. If the Knicks pull it out, they could go to the Pacers, which also isn't terribly far. I
no,
think it's probably about the same distance from as we are from Cleveland. And then obviously if the Knicks make it to the conference finals, they got to play us. So we're talking not a lot of mileage at all for the Knicks. Probably less than we've already done. We're I would say if Miami series did go to seven, less than that, depending
yeah.
on how far the Knicks or I'm sorry, the Sixers drag this out. But yeah, no, I how much would you say has to happen before we call Banchero a certified star? I know he's not. I'm just saying how much would you have to happen
Um,
in these playoffs or next year?
well, I think if he carries on and does this in the second round against us, if they win, and then he comes out next year and like early on starts really just kind of picking up where he left off, then I think it's fair to have that conversation. I think what will happen this off season is the conversations will start to be like, is Bonchero a future star? Like
Mhm.
is that those will be the questions. So I think it's definitely on the table, like next season for sure. And I hope it is too. I like him a lot. I think I enjoy watching him play. People have been talking about him for a little bit now, so it's kind of cool to see him like starting to reach his potential that everybody talked about. So, but yeah, I definitely think that's on the board for
No,
this
I
season.
love how this Magic Cavaliers series is so interesting. We talked about it during our Celtics Heat time. People missing out. I mean,
Yep.
I know this wasn't because it was interesting, but it's still funny. But yeah, let's move on to the Mavericks and the Clippers, which thank God is our last game we got to talk about. You were doing something else.
Guess
Big
what?
Mavericks guy.
No. What did I say? What did I predict?
Hold on. So Luca had 35, Kyrie had 14, Zubac and George highest scorers, and I wrote right here, Harden with a stinker 7.
He had two more than expected.
Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't exactly five. So you're wrong, actually, but um yeah, so just all about that. I'll tell you what. This was and I was not watching this one much because when it started, what NHL game was still on? It was the Knights and the Stars, which you don't know, but that's an incredible series, and I would love to see that go to seven in terms of interest. So I was watching that heavily, and by the time I looked down at the Mavericks game, it was already like so I was like, I'll throw it on. So it was like, in the corner. So I didn't really focus on it. I watched the highlights today and I just firmly cannot believe not only did Kyrie not get more than 14 points, I can't believe he was outscored by Luca by 21. The highlights from Kyrie were insane last night. And there were so many points where I just watched and I'm like, yeah, only Kyrie can hit that shot. Like the one where he's like under the basket, like literally falling and just like does that. I'm like, only Kyrie. I had to do a double take. I had to like, look at the name and then like follow my finger across to where the points were to make sure I was looking at the right player's points. I'm like,
Isn't
no, no way he only got
isn't
14 and had a game like that.
real quick? So you watching Kyrie right now? Isn't it like? Does it feel like for you two different players from when you watched him on the Nets?
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. Yeah, it's
Like
incredible to see him back to true form. It's great.
it's like because I was like, was I really not that focused on him in Brooklyn? And then I was like, no, he was playing the Celtics. Of course I was watching him carefully.
This is the reason why when he came to Boston with a young Tatum and Brent, I mean, we were so convinced that there was no way that we were not going to at least get to the finals with them because this is how he was playing. You
Right.
know, so
Um, But yep. So Kyrie slow first half, big second half, feels like a trend. I wrote that before I knew he had 14 points. So obviously big second half in terms of just making some crazy ass baskets. I think the Mavericks have this one in the books. I think they're gonna win in six. They've controlled the last six quarters, if you really think about it, because obviously they had that 31 point comeback. It felt like at the beginning of this game, both defenses just weren't showing up, not doing much. And then the Mavericks started to wake up. Jones and Washington specifically had some great blocks and big rebounds. And the Clippers defense continued just not to show up. And then they started missing easy shots. And yeah, the Mavericks, I mean, I think it was like a 12-point lead at half, and then they just took off in the third. And it was like the Celtics game, not really a point in watch in the fourth. It was pretty much over. Um, 54% to 34 in the field, 36 to 26 from three. Um, 13 turnovers for the Clippers, no blocks, only I think like three or four steals. Like I said, their defense just wasn't there at all. And I'm pretty sure they had less fouls than the Mavericks too. So it's not like, they were going in and trying for defense and accidentally fouling. They just weren't really putting in too much of an effort to stop the Mavericks from doing what they do. So
Mhm.
Luka capitalized on that with 35. Kyrie took all the decent defensive chances for the Clippers and just turned them on their heads because that's just what he does. And yeah, hold on. Before I turn it to I think I think something that made me laugh was like the Heat's like field percentage was really bad. Or no, maybe it was their three percentage. I'll look into it. Because I remember it was something was really noteworthy in terms of wow, that percentage sucks. But you go ahead with your take on the Mavericks game.
First thing that I want to say is in regards to James Harden, because every year people say, oh, he has a 140 point game, and his playoff demons are over. A shit leopard can't change its spots. All right, that's just first and foremost what I'm going to say.
I'll cut in really quick. 10.3% from three for the Heat.
Oh, from the Heat.
Yeah, I know. I said I was going back because I just remembered that there was a funny stat in the Heat game. So
Gotcha.
10% from three in the Heat. I
So
just didn't even feel like bringing it up. It wasn't noteworthy. Nothing in terms of statistics was noteworthy from the Celtics and Heat because who cares if it's a 30-point loss in a game-winning series? It's like, oh, what can the Heat do better? I don't know. Tell me in September. But I
so
continue.
Cancun. Oh no, but so
Galveston.
I guess my main takeaway is I really hate to toot my own horn again, but I also predicted a big game from Luka. Yeah, shocker, Mike. Congrats. Luka was gonna have a good
Yeah.
playoff. You really hot take there. No, but
I said the Celtics would beat the Heat.
I felt like Luka. This game was kind of incoming because Kyrie was kind of been the guy the last few games. I feel like, and people were kind of starting to disrespect Luka a little bit, and I was like, people must forget that like Luka carried this Mavericks team to the Western Conference Finals the one year, like literally, absolutely disarmed the Phoenix Suns, 60+ win team that year. We watched it at Applebee's, but
Wait, really quick. We walked in at the start of the second quarter because I think we were like on the beach or something.
yeah, we saw the
And we
Suns.
went up to the bar and we asked this guy sitting at the bar if the score was wrong.
I remember because I looked at it, I was like, there's no way. I was like, this just can't be true.
They're
Like,
like, "That's not the score." He's like, yeah, it is.
but no, but I think, and now I said from the beginning, well, not from the beginning, but when the playoffs were, I think towards the end of the regular season, my pick, and as much as I still think like the Nuggets are like that team, I do have the finals being Mavs versus Celtics. That is my prediction. Um,
Whoa, okay.
yeah, I'm on record saying it. Search the group chat, but anyways, I still think the Clippers are going to win game six because this series has just been so up and down. Every time you think a team has momentum, something happens in the series. It's crazy. Nobody can keep that momentum. Um, I'll tell you what. Next game, I saw a funny meme. It was like a girl texting you, and it was like, "Are you coming over tonight?" And then so they just it was a picture of Paul George, and she was like, "What?" And he goes, "That means I'm not showing up." Whatever. And I guess he's like, right? But but so
He had way more points than Harden. Dude, there was
what?
a point where
What
he
is
hit
that
two
saying?
big threes to cut the lead down to whatever.
Chris Paul cuts the lead down to 37
Yeah,
after the week
dude,
straight.
what is it with people named Paul cutting big leads down to 20?
I just
I know Chris Paul was 40. I know. I'm just saying.
I mean, I really don't have too much to add on this other than like I mean, the Clippers are just banged up and everything. And like I think we said this last pod, me and you, OKC is praying that this goes to 7 and the Clippers win. Praying. Like that would be
Yeah,
incredible for them. The Clippers would be so out of gas. But I just want to say one more thing.
mhm.
Kobe Brown, you play 6 minutes and you don't score a single freaking point. Now look, I don't know who you are, but your first name is Kobe. To go into a playoff game, not get a shot off, not score, and your first name is Kobe, and you're in
And
LA,
Kobe B. His last name begins with a B.
yeah, it's disrespectful. And honestly, like I don't want to see this bum in the league again. Honestly,
I'm trying to find him
but
over the.
that's really all I have to offer on that.
Yeah, and his last name is this year's playoff MVP. I was gonna say, but so so the reason I think the Mavericks is gonna pull away with it is, if you think about the Mavericks' losses, with the exception of the first one, they have been significantly less bad than the Clippers' losses. You know, I feel like when the Clippers have lost, it's been like kind of over, but the Mavericks were fighting till the end. So I think even where the Clippers up in a close game, this one, I would say the Mavericks were having the better series just ever since game one, which, game one, what does that really determine? And one team might be more awake than the other. Game two is where it really not where it really starts. You know what I mean, though. Where in terms of like if both of them, right, no more excuses. You're both in the playoffs now. You've had a game under your belt. Let's see it. So I have two things I want you to answer. One, just status on Kawhi. Would you, could he, all that stuff. And second, I forgot to bring this up earlier. Who are you giving the round one MVP to for the Celtics? I think it's between two guys. I think I know who I'm picking, but I want to hear what you got to say too.
I give it to Derek White.
I think I go with Brown. And I know that's probably shocking just because how much I love DW, but I feel like Derek White didn't do much of anything until like maybe halfway through the third, I think Brown was very consistent throughout the playoffs. I think there might have been like one game where he didn't do very well, but I feel like every game he had like 20 to like 25 points.
I
Obviously,
guess
Derek White had the big stinger, and was really efficient in the last couple games, and was definitely the playoff MVP for the last couple games. But I think Brown just showed up more than White.
I don't think that's a bad take. Like I personally I think it could go either way. I guess my only thing is like with Derek White, it's like time and time again, and he proved it again this series, like whether it's KP goes down and he's injured, Tatum's not playing his best, or Brown's not playing his best. He is always the guy who rises up to the occasion for us. And like I mean, you think about it now, this is his third postseason with the Celtics. Like honest to God, like all jokes aside, like think about if we didn't have Derek White. Like we would have been in a lot of trouble in a lot of these playoff series that we won. I know you were just talking
Lost in
about
six
round
last
one.
year.
So yeah, I know you're just talking about round one right now, but I'm just saying like in totality, like I don't know, but I do agree. Like
I'm talking about
you could give it to Brown too. And what?
I was talking about against the Heat
I know that's what
last
I
last year.
no, I know. I'm saying, but
No,
what I'm saying is, I know we're talking about the MVP for round one,
no,
right?
yes.
Fucking idiot. But no, no, but anyways,
I'm sucking on a dumb fucking idiot
Sounds about
10-year
right.
old.
Um, but now what was the other question you asked me about Kawhi status?
Mm-hmm.
If I know anything about Kawhi, he's not coming back.
Wow.
I think that's a safe assumption. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Um,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
still
do
think
you though? Because
I,
if he came back, do you think they put him back in if they think he wasn't ready at this point after seeing what we saw in 2 and 3?
let me tell you something. Kawhi Leonard doesn't play around. He has like everybody has in-team doctors. He does his own separately. So like he doesn't rely on the team or anything. Like he if he is not, he has to be 100%. If he's 99.9%, he's not playing. He's just not. So unless he is 100% ready to go, he's not going to play, regardless.
I mean, then what the hell happened earlier in the series? He clearly wasn't 100.
He was before the game.
Hmm. What?
He was before the game.
Really?
Yeah, or else he would not have played.
You think he got re-injured?
Oh, 100%. He always gets re-injured.
Hmm.
He gets re-injured every game. You
I mean, the only reason I don't think he was 100% is because he played like ass both those games.
just had a bad game. You, you okay. You also have to think about the fact of like I also love when you argue things that are like facts, like things that like they've literally said. But since we're here, um, you also have
He
that
was
fact.
100%
Hold
healthy. You
on, let
freaking
me
lie about
speak.
that,
Let
Craig,
me
in the
speak.
playoffs.
Let me talk. Let me talk. You also have the factor of when you've been injured so many times, coming out a little timid as a result of that. Like if you've noticed, like there's plenty of times where Kawhi has like dunked the ball and is hung on the rim because he's so scared to land. Because he literally like he doesn't know when he hits the ground, he doesn't know what the hell he's gonna tear next. Like honest to God. Like so I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with it too. Like you're not able to really play to your full potential. But yeah, he wouldn't have gone out there if he didn't feel he was 100%.
Call a tech on him, why don't you? Who was that they called a tech on for hanging on the rim? Do
A
you
lot.
remember that?
They do that to a lot of people.
That's that's screwed up, especially like with what you just said. Like if it was because of being trying to avoid an injury,
Well,
calling
no,
a
they don't.
foul to avoid it.
There's very specific times where they won't do it. Like something like that, they wouldn't do it. And then also, like a lot of times, people hang on the rim because someone might be below them. So like
Mhm.
they'll hang on the rim to not like step on them, and that won't be technical. But if it's just like a clear path, like dunk, and then you're just hanging on the rim, then yeah, they tee you up for it.
Still disagree, but
I
you know,
agree.
to each
It's the same thing as getting called for unsportsmanlike conduct in the NFL when you score a touchdown and you do a celebration. Same thing.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I think it's worse than that because in the NFL they do really make themselves like a bunch of asses sometimes doing that. But hanging on a rim, I mean, it's hanging on a rim. But um, yep. So tonight, we got Pacers Bucks early. We got that at 6:30, which is pretty cool. We'll take that.
Remember it was at
And then
5:30 last week?
it was at 5:30 last week,
Yeah,
on Friday. Um, and then what else do we got tonight?
that's it.
Six.
The
Oh, we got the
Sixers,
Sixers. I think
Pacers
that's it.
and
I think it's
Pacers Bucks.
Sixers and Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be fun to talk about tomorrow. So unless you have anything else to say,
Knicks
um,
Knicks might be in trouble, man.
oh, stop predicting that, man. You said Harden was gonna have a stinker. He has a stinker. You come out and say that the Knicks are gonna have trouble. Come
I also said Knicks in five.
on. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.